gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another broadcast of the Lawrence Report. On tonight's broadcast, we'll be discussing the Jonathan Majors verdict and how Marvel decided to fire him. We knew this day was coming. We knew this day was coming for Jonathan, and it is not a good day on his behalf. I hate this for him. If you're living under a rock now, if you've been on social media, TV, radio, you probably done heard the news that Jonathan Majors has been officially fired from Marvel. He also has been found guilty in his latest court case with his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. Let's get into the legalities of everything that just went down for Jonathan Majors. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the verdict was reached today by a 6-person jury. They had over 4 hours of deliberation throughout the courtroom, of course, and the actor is set to be sentenced on February the 6th. A New York jury found the Marvel actor Jonathan Majors guilty of reckless assault in 3rd degree and guilty of harassment. Of course, his girlfriend Megan Good was, stood by his side, of course, but also these charges, this misdemeanor and a violation, they all carry a sentence of potentially 1 year in prison for Jonathan Majors. So yeah, that is how it's going down currently for Jonathan. I just didn't want this to happen to him. I just didn't know how this thing was going to go. Recently, if you've been on Twitter, of course, you saw the video with him trying to get out of this vehicle. But it seems like at the time, his girlfriend, Grace Jabari, was, she was chasing him. And by social media people, including myself, I thought that might have been enough to potentially clear his name, but it is not enough. And now, February 6th is the next step for Jonathan. So just when you thought things wasn't going to get even more worse, Marvel decided that they was going to go ahead and fire Jonathan Majors. Now, Marvel has been pretty quiet about this whole ordeal. We haven't seen too many public statements from Kevin Feige or anybody like that right there. They kind of just let everything play out in the court system. But it seems like for Marvel, whenever this was bound to happen, they already knew what they was going to do, and that was eventually fire Jonathan Majors. So it feels like they had their cards already in the deck, waiting to see what was going to happen for him. Now, I know a lot of people already talking about recasting Jonathan Majors for the role of Kang. There's a lot of great young black actors out there like Keith Stanfield, John Boyega, Kofi, Trevante Rhodes. Those are just some of my personal favorites. Not to mention David Washington, which is, Denzel's son. I think he would be also a good Kang if they plan on recasting him, which I believe Marvel wholeheartedly will, because anybody who knows MCU knows that, this Kang character is pretty much a very important character in the MCU. So now the search is on for the next Kang, and I hate this for Jonathan Majors so much because he was soaring to the top. I first discovered Jonathan Majors back when I saw Lovecraft Country a couple years ago on HBO Max, and I still can't believe they canceled that show. That was my show right there with Johnny Smollett and Misha Green, writing and producing and directing, doing all the things of that show. But still, that was my show. That was the first time I met Jonathan Majors, right? And then we look at some of the movies he's had these last couple of years, from Devotion to Creed with Michael B. Jordan to now appearing in Ant-Man, in the Ant-Man franchise, And now it seems like, and I forgot about Magazine Dreams at Sundance Film Festival, right? That came out, right? But now it seems like all of that, the endorsements, all those things, the movies, all of that is now about to go down the drain. And I just hate that for him, because I saw someone with a he was just rising in the atmosphere of the action world. He was about to become, if not already, a household name. And for this situation to happen to him, it's a devastating blow. It's a devastating blow to the MCU. It's a devastating blow, I think, also to the way we look at, black men in Hollywood, and not to mention the judicial system. A lot of times we don't get some of the other second chances that other actors are not black. Sometimes we don't get those second opportunities, right? Because sometimes it feels like our sentences in Hollywood, or even in the court system in general, can be much harsher, And one thing about Hollywood, I can say this right here. They do love a good comeback story, but at what cost, right? I think Jonathan Majors will have a good comeback story over time. I believe his redemption arc will be high. It just depends on how everything goes with during the month of February, about the next steps in his case. I'm rooting for him. At the same time, I think about Megan Good. Now, Megan Good, you stood by his side for a long time, so I'm wondering, what's going to happen with her, how their relationship is going to be. I hope that she continues to stay by his side in this case, even if he does have to go to jail for a year or so. But yeah, it's not looking good for Jonathan right now. Like I said, I hope he has his redemption story. I believe it can happen. I know Marvel's already looking forward. Well, I shouldn't say looking forward, but I know Marvel is already looking at, replacing him in this role. The one thing I don't want Marvel to do is, just because he got, convicted of whatever he was doing, I don't want them to bury the Kang character, I've already seen a couple of reports that they're talking about moving this thing. Well, actually, they're thinking about calling this thing just Avengers 5, and not necessarily having Kang Dynasty. I don't want Marvel to bury the villain Kang. I still think he's a good villain. There's so many, like I said previously, there's so many other great young black actors out there that could possibly play Kang. So Marvel, if y'all are watching this right here, recast Kang. Don't make that same mistake y'all did with Black Panther. Anyway, that is my thoughts on the Jonathan Majors situation. I pray for both parties involved, for Grace Jabari, for Jonathan Majors and his family as well. I know this is a rough, this right here is uncharted territory for both of them. This is something that this child too passes, is what I'm trying to say, for Jonathan and Grace. Fortune was a toxic relationship, and whenever TMZ, the media, when all that gets involved into it, and not to mention the court of public opinion, social media, it all can just go down the drain for anyone. So I'm hoping the best for Jonathan. We will see how these cards play out for Mr. Majors. If you think that Marvel should recast Kang, please let me know below. And who would you like to see play Kang, in Avengers Kang Dynasty? And as always, thank you for tuning in to the Lawrence Report.